So I'm browser hopping again. So some of the quirks that I had with Fire Dragon have been kind of like not too nice. So I've basically gone with the next best thing and kind of looked at a couple things. So as most people should know, I've basically had Gilded and Discord in the browser for a while. And so the browser that I'm basically hopping to again is Ungoogled Chromium. Oh, one thing I did notice is I kind of compared the metrics between Ungoogled Chromium and Fire Dragon, and noticed that like Gilded and Discord use a little bit more RAM in Fire Dragon than they do in Chromium, which is interesting, and I think can partially be chalked up to the way that they're pretty much built for Chromium or Chromium based browsers. So it kind of makes sense. And Fire Dragon, when it does it, it tries to it registers the user script as a Chromium on Windows, and it's just, and I think that kind of messes with some of the sites and the way that they want to render things, because it doesn't render things exactly the same as Chromium. So I mean, yeah, I could probably go in and change the user agent really, and it might work out a touch better, but it would still scream at me. But the other thing too is I wasn't aware that like tab groups were added to Chromium. And so I'm sitting here looking at it like I right clicked a tab, it's like, wait, tab group? What? That's cool. Because I can sit here and I can go over and I can move that into there or move it out and it'll just highlight it. Let me cancel that. And I do have, so in the, I have basically all the same plugins installed as well. So I've got the clear URLs, the dark reader, and the uBlock origin installed just like Fire Dragon has. And then other than that, Ungoogled Chromium settings basically wipe everything by default. So I had to go in and tweak a couple things to get it to work somewhat sensibly, but it makes sense for Ungoggeld Chromium to want to like not think about any of that stuff and to wipe cookies at the end of it as a default. I guess there could be like I guess a setting tweak that way, but you know, tab groups lets me change the color of the tab group if I really want to, so it changes the color outline and then ungroup it or close the whole tab, or even move it to a new window. So, of course, you've got pseudo tab stacking, which is something that I can appreciate. And now I can just have like my whole gamut of like where I'm going to shill everything open in one small group and go from there. Um, and the other thing too that I think Vivaldi might have, I know Fire Dragon has it in the form of containers, but you've also got the profiles thing. So, you know, you've got your separate profile for this, that, or the other, or what have you. And so there's some that I have to remove and others that, you know. So, of course, you can customize a profile, change the color, blah, 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 that kind of a thing. But yeah, everybody I think has used some sort of Chromium based browser, whether it be Brave, Edge, Chrome, Vivaldi, what have you. You're pretty much like most everything's going to be Chromium based, including Opera. So I've already had like a slightly better experience with certain sites already. And again, that's chalked up to the web engine, the rendering engine that it's using for the web, and being as everyone plays with it that way. And I mean, Ungoogled Chromium really isn't all that bad because it still runs the same engine. It just takes out all the extra cruft that some people would want to add to Chromium. Even though Google's taken out more of their tracker stuff out of Chromium, Ungoogled Chromium still adds quite a bit more to it. So for installing that, all you have to do is like go look for Ungoogled Chromium, or Ungoogled in this case, and if you're running Artix, then you just add the universe repo and they've got it precompiled in there. Otherwise, you can go and get Ungoogeld Chromium from the AUR, and then if you want to be able to install extensions from the web store in it, they've got an extension for that as well that you will have to add on your own. So one thing I do use as well is uBlock Origin is not installed via the web store. I actually have it installed from the repos here, and the way that you will set that up is by going into your settings, go to extensions. Well, I could have gone to it from the menu up here, but I'm just stupid. But then you can, so it will update uBlock Origin based on what you have locally installed. And then Chromium Web Store, if you installed that way, then it'll update it that way. This extension should also help somewhat manage updating packages. So we can hit update here, and if it can, it will update what packages, extensions it can. But you should have developer mode enabled in order to do this. So you'll load unpacked, and then you'll basically go to, like, what was it? This one was in, was it lib? So there might be a couple different install locations that they'll have it in. And so here we've got the uBlock Origin folder is in lib uBlock Origin. So you might have to check where the particular package build installs the extension, but then you'll just select it and hit select, and then it will load up the extension into your Chromium. So you can do it that way. It's going to scream at me that it can't update uBlock Origin because I've got it installed via the package manager. So it's going to complain about that. That's fine, whatever. But yeah, that is, I mean, that's me browser hopping again, but if you wanted something that was a bit more fleshed out, but isn't Chrome or isn't going to exactly track you like that is, then Ungoogeld Chromium's a good option. I actually want to say that you're able to install it from the chocolatey repos if you're on like Windows 10, Windows 11 or whatever. You should be able to install it from repos that way. But yeah, that's the basics of it. Most distros I don't know. Most distros might have some way to install it or package it. Any Arch-based distro, it's pretty much in the AUR, or if it might be in the Chaotic AUR. I don't have Chaotic AUR set up on this computer, but it's probably in there as well. So if you're on an Arch-based distro, you're pretty set to go. So if this was helpful, if you were looking for something different, a different browser that isn't really all that different, then Ungoogeld Chromium's probably your better bet. It's probably a lot lighter than regular Chromium, but Discord, Guilded, those kinds of things, they're in the description and that whatnot, and I will see you guys later.